up, fight fans? I'm the bird shit on the freshly washed car of mixed martial arts, Tommy Toehold. And this is Triple THS. Let's do this shit! Cain Velasquez! After about 52 years, the heavyweight champion is back, fight fans! And like Odysseus returning home, somebody's got their hand in his cookie jar, and that is the interim champion Fabricio Werdum. 2 champs, 1 night. There's all sorts of awesome fucking fights. You know you're gonna watch this thing. Who the fuck wouldn't? Somebody who hates freedom, that's who. Fight fans, the only way UFC 188 could get any better is if there were a way to somehow turn the card into a fantasy sport that you would then play and win money. Holy shit, that existed. It's called Kountermove Fantasy MMA at Kountermove.com. And this Saturday, I've got my $10,000 Let's Do This Shit game for your ass. $1,500 to the winner. Holy fuck. That is a lot of blizzards at Dairy Queen. $25 gets you in. The top 59 spots pay out. Tommy, this sounds fucking amazing. I want this more than I want my children to succeed in college, but I have no idea how to play. What the fuck do I do? I'll tell you what you do. You sit there and you let me explain it to you. The first step is to select a game. There are free games, small games, and big games for all major MMA events. Next, you're gonna pick a team of 5 fighters. Each game is played over the course of a single fight card, and you have $25,000 for $10 to draft a team of 5 fighters. Once you pick your team, you're ready for the last step. Score points and win. Once the fights begin, you get points based on how your fighters perform. Points are awarded for strikes landed, submissions attempted, knockdowns, dominant positions, rounds won, and knockout or submission bonuses. The team with the most points at the end of the night wins the tournament. Now that you know how to play, you're probably wanting to know who to pick this Saturday night. Well, aren't you one lucky motherfucker? Because I'm gonna go through the whole damn card. All right, first up, we've got Albert Tumenov taking on Andrew Todhunter. Tumenov has won 2 of his last 3 in the UFC via KO. He has 9 first-round finishes, and he's never been stopped. Those are some great fucking counter-move stats. Todhunter is making his UFC debut. He has 7 submission wins, and 5 of his 7 wins in his career are from the first round. Tumenov is worth $5,400, and I can definitely see why. This guy has more first-round finishes than his opponent has fights. I'm picking Tumenov, and you want him on your team. All right, next up, we've got Gabriel Benitez taking on Clay Collard. Benitez won his UFC debut via submission, but his last first-round finish was in 2012. He does, however, have 15 finishes in 17 wins. Clay Collard is an interesting cat. He's got a bunch of fights for a guy who's only 22. Very hard to put away. Max Holloway couldn't stop him till late, but his last finish was in 2012. I think Clay Collard wins this fight. That said, I'm not sure either guy gets a finish on this one, and I'm going to say avoid it. All right, next up, we've got Augusto Montano taking on Cal Pendred. All of Montano's wins are finishes. He has never been stopped. He won his UFC debut in the first round. Pretty fucking impressive. That being said, Pendred has not lost since 2010. This dude is on a good run. He's got a very good camp behind him. However, he has not had a finish since 2010. And he has 9 decision wins. I'm going with Pendred to win this one, but much like the last fight, I would not put this on your counter move game. All right, next up, we've got Francisco Trevino taking on Johnny Case. Trevino won his UFC debut via decision. He has 6 first-round finishes and 12 wins, but those are outside the UFC. His last 3 wins have been decisions. Johnny Case is a fucking stud. He's got 2 finishes in 2 UFC fights. He hasn't lost since 2010, and he has only gone to a decision in 2 of 24 fights in his career. This dude finishes fights or gets finished. It is very hard to pick against Case. However, Trevino is a solid fighter, and if you had to, he's not a bad pick for the money. But I'm going to go ahead and say Case for the finish if you can afford him. Okay, next up, we've got Alejandro Perez taking on Patrick Williams. Perez won his UFC debut via decision. He has 9 first-round finishes. Guys, there are a bunch of people on this card who just stop motherfuckers all the time. Last time he was put down was in 2011. Williams lost his UFC debut via flying knee, and he has been KO'd twice in his last 4 fights. His last 4 wins, however, were first-round finishes. Fight fans, this one is going to finish in the first round, and I have a sneaking suspicion that it's going to be Perez. Williams has already been knocked out twice recently. I think Perez puts him down, and he is a solid pick for your counter-move team. Okay, next up, we've got Efrain Escudero taking on Drew Dawber. Escudero has 12 submission wins in his career. That's fucking incredible, but no finishes in the UFC thus far, and he has 7 decision losses. Dawber has 9 submission wins, 5 decision losses. only UFC win via first round sub. Both of these guys lose by decision a lot, and that's what this fight's gonna be too. It's gonna be a decision. I'm gonna give the edge to Dawber, but I would definitely not put this one on your counter move game. Okay, next up we've got Henry Cejudo taking on Chico Camus. I have doubted Henry Cejudo every time he's been in counter move, and every single time I am wrong. This guy is unbeaten thus far. He's a former Olympic wrestler. He won gold. He does not have any UFC finishes, but he is very active and he is still learning. He can still score a bunch of points. While Camus has been in the UFC for a lot longer, he has been hit and miss. He has no finishes. He did, however, get a win over Brad Pickett recently. I'm going with Cejudo. I think this guy is pretty special. I definitely think he wins, and I definitely think he is a solid pick. All right, next up we've got Tecia Torres and Angela Hill. All 5 of Ticia's wins have been decisions. She has fought some very tough opponents. She is very fast. She's very active. Hill does not have a whole bunch of experience. She was in the Tough House, but she only has 2 official professional fights. Her pro debut, she did win via second round TKO, and she has some nasty kicks. Honestly, fight fans, there is so little data on this fight, it's almost impossible to go with anyone. And the fact that Tecia Torres is 5,400 makes that a very tough sell, considering all of her wins are decisions. If you're looking for somebody to get a stop, I'm going to say Angela Hill wins this fight. That said, there's a very strong chance Torres wins via decision. Basically, fight fans, avoid this one in your counter move game. Okay, next up we've got Yair Rodriguez and Charles Rosa. Rodriguez won his UFC debut via decision. His last 2 finishes were first rounders, but he does not have a whole bunch of experience. He's only 4-1. Rosa, 100% finishes in 10 victories. He has never been stopped, and 8 of his 10 wins were first round stops. Holy fucking shit, that is a counter move fighter. Go with Rosa. He is a solid pick. Put him on your counter move team. Okay, next up we've got Kelvin Gastelum and Nate Marquardt. Kelvin was on a roll up until the Woodley fight. He has a whole bunch of high level experience thus far, and he has 2 first round finishes in the UFC. Nate Marquardt has seen everything and he has fought everybody. But he also has a whole bunch of miles. He's lost 4 of his last 5, but he did manage to get a first round sub in his last win. I think Kelvin Gastelum is a really special fighter. I think he's the real deal. I think he wins this fight. And I think he's a very solid pick for your counter move team. Okay, next up we got the co-main event with Gilbert Melendez and Eddie Alvarez. Holy fucking shit, this fight is gonna be awesome as fuck. Gil Melendez has fought everybody. He's got 11 KOs and 10 decisions and 22 wins, so he's about 50-50. However, his last finish was in 2011. Eddie Alvarez, the best Bellator had to offer. Very strong fighter, do not sleep on him. He lost his UFC debut, but he lost to Donald fucking Cerrone. This guy has 21 stops in 25 wins, and 2 of his last 3 wins were first round stops. These guys are even money. I fucking love this fight. That said, I think Gilbert Melendez is going to be hard to put away here. I think Gilbert Melendez is still a guy who could be at the very top of that division. So is Alvarez, but I do not think he gets a finish. I think Melendez wins. I think he wins via decision, and I think it's a productive fight. At 4,800, he's not a bad pickup for your counter move team. And finally, the main event of the evening, Cain Velasquez, Fabricio Werdum, both champions. This thing is gonna be fucking awesome. I do not know what to say about Cain Velasquez. This dude has never had a bad fight. Yeah, he caught a bad punch at the beginning of a fight with JDS, but minus that moment, he has been fucking flawless. He has 11 KO TKOs in his 13 wins. This guy has cardio for days. I do not think there will be ring rust. This guy is training with the top fighters in the world all the fucking time. And he is going against a submission master in Fabricio Werdum. Arguably the best submission fighter in the heavyweight division. He has 3 finishes in his last 5 wins. This dude is on a roll. The motherfucker beat Fedor. That said, I have no idea how in the world anybody can pick against Cain Velasquez. This dude is unfucking believable. I think he's the best heavyweight in the world, and I think he's gonna prove that on Saturday night. He's a solid pick, but holy shit, at 5,800, you're really gonna have to move some people around to pick him up. All right, now that we've looked through the card, it's time to make your picks. You can go with whoever the fuck you want to go with, but I'm taking Tumanov, Gastelum, and Rosa because they're gonna get me huge points, and Gil and Francisco because you gotta risk it to get the biscuit. Once you've chosen your team, you hit the play now button, then you invite some friends, and from now to start a fight night, you can change your team around as much as you want. Maybe your top guy looked like the Grim Reaper touched him at the weigh-ins. Get his ass off your team. You can do that. You have the power. You're fucking He-Man. Fight fans, this card is awesome. There are a lot of bad motherfuckers on it. The number one thing you're going to get out of Kountermove Fantasy MMA at Kountermove.com is that it's going to make this card even more fucking fun because you're invested. You've got a rooting interest in the card from top to bottom. I'm telling you, fight fans, it does not get much better than this. Sign up now, invite some friends, get in my tourney. I've even got a cheaper one if you're not balling out of control right now. For everybody at Kountermove.com, I'm Tommy Toehold, and I will see you on the leaderboards. Please don't make direct eye contact with my icon. He doesn't like when you look at him.